This is the AEW All Out 2024 full show results video, which takes place at Now Center in Hoffman Estates, Illinois. The show started with a tag team match between Iron Savages versus The Acclaimed, and the result of this match was The Acclaimed defeated Iron Savages by pinfall with mic drop from Max Caster on Bolt Bronson. After the match, The Acclaimed celebrate their win, and MXM Collection is then shown watching the action once again from the backstage area. The next match happened between Dustin Rhodes, Hologram, and Sammy Guevara versus Premier Athlete Brand, and the result of this match was Dustin Rhodes, Hologram, and Sammy Guevara defeated Premier Athlete Brand by pinfall with Final Reckoning from Dustin Rhodes on Josh Woods. The next match happened between Bang Bang Gang versus Dark Order, and the result of this match was Bang Bang Gang defeated Dark Order by pinfall when Juice Robinson delivered some right hands on Uno and follows it up with the Juice is Loose for the win. Tony Schiavone then stands on the stage and introduces Sky Blue, and Sky Blue then makes her way out on crutches and addresses the live crowd in attendance. Blue recalls her first time competing at AEW All Out 3 years ago and then comments on her injury and says she's trying to get back as fast as she can, but it's just a waiting game. AEW Women's World Champion The Glamour Mariah May then interrupts and says she was there to have her AEW Women's World Championship celebration, but she will not be doing it in Chicago. May then questions why Chicago is called the Windy City when no one there has been blown before, and Blue then says May knows a lot about that. Mariah May then says Blue needs some glamour and then kicks Blue's crutch out from underneath her and attacks her. May then mounts Blue and throws some punches at her and then picks up one of Blue's crutches. Queen Aminata then makes her way out to make the save and takes the crutch away from May. Aminata and Schiavone then help Blue to her feet and give her the crutches, and Aminata then raises the arm of Blue. The next match happened between Action Andretti and Top Flight versus Beast Mordos and Shane Taylor Promotions versus Undisputed Kingdom, and the result of this match was Undisputed Kingdom won the match by pinfall when Roderick Strong hit a jumping knee on Mordos as he looks to send Andretti crashing into the mat, and Strong then pins Andretti for the win. The next match happened between MJF versus Daniel Garcia, and the result of this match was MJF defeated Daniel Garcia by pinfall when Garcia placed MJF on the top rope, but MJF pushed Garcia off and blocked himself with the referee. MJF then low blows Garcia while the referee is distracted and pins Garcia for the win. After the match, Garcia is clearly frustrated and MJF then offers him a handshake and Garcia accepts it. MJF then goes to attack Garcia, but Garcia sees it coming. Garcia then hits MJF below the belt and follows it up with an avalanche tombstone piledriver. Garcia then crawls over to MJF and mockingly shakes his neck around before he exits the ring and celebrates with the crowd, and trainers then check on MJF and put him in a neck collar. Swerve Strickland and Prince Nana were then shown in a dressing room with 4 security guards. We then see a separate shot of Hangman Adam Page with 4 security guards in his dressing room. Excalibur says the security guards are there to keep Swerve and Page apart from each other prior to their match. The next match happened between Blackpool Combat Club, Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta versus Young Bucks for the AEW World Tag Team Championship, and the result of this match was Young Bucks defeated Blackpool Combat Club by pinfall with a small package from Matthew Jackson on Wheeler Yuta, retaining the AEW World Tag Team Championship. The next match happened between Pac versus Will Ospreay for the AEW International Championship. It was a great match and both men delivered a high-quality performance. There was a moment when Pac sends Ospreay back in the ring and gets him on the top rope, then joins him up there and hits a superplex, but Ospreay responds with a forearm off the barricade and flies over the top rope to take him down, then gets him back in the ring and hits him with a springboard kick. Pac then hits a shoulder on Ospreay's midsection from the apron, but Ospreay intercepts him with a standing Spanish fly inside the ring and pins him. Pac then kicks out and Ospreay hits him with an OS cutter before going for another pin. Pac then hits a kick on Ospreay's head in the corner and sets up for the Black Arrow, but Ospreay gets his knees up and rolls up Pac. Pac then kicks out and Ospreay lines up for the Hidden Blade, but Pac sees him coming and hits a backslide. In the end, Will Ospreay delivered a Styles Clash, followed by the third Hidden Blade, and defeated Pac by pinfall to retain the AEW International Championship. After the match, Schiavone called the match an all-timer. Ricochet was then shown nodding as he watched on a backstage monitor, and Ospreay then slapped hands with fans on his way to the back. Then we saw a Chicago street fight between Willow Nightingale versus Chris Statlander. There was a moment in this match when Nightingale hits Statlander with 3 light tubes taped together and delivers a couple of right hands on her head. Statlander and Nightingale then exchange strikes before Statlander spears Nightingale off the stage and through a couple of tables. Chris Stat dumps a bag of thumbtacks out, electric chair, Willow slips out, Statlander off the ropes, Nightingale sidesteps her and she does the splits into the tacks. In the end, Chris Statlander hit the Saturday Night Fever, choking Willow with the chain, and won the match by the referee stoppage with a chain-assisted crossface. We then head to the back, where Will Ospreay is being interviewed by Renee Paquette and Ospreay tells Pac to find him if he ever wants a rematch. Ospreay then calls out Ricochet, who approaches him and Ospreay then says he is sick of Ricochet sitting backstage and tells him to earn his paycheck. Ospreay then tells Ricochet to talk to Tony Khan, get some wins under his belt, and then he can for his title and Ricochet then says he will see him soon. Then we saw an AEW Continental Championship 4-way match between Kazuchika Okada vs Mark Briscoe vs Orange Cassidy vs Konosuke Takeshita, and the result of this match was Kazuchika Okada won the match by pinfall with a Rainmaker on Orange Cassidy to retain the AEW Continental Championship. The next match happened between Hikaru Shida vs Mercedes Moné for the AEW TBS Championship. There was a moment in the match when Moné hit a Meteora and wears Shida down with a submission. Moné then hits a couple of knees on Shida as she was draped across the middle turnbuckle and went for a pin, but Shida kicked out and Moné stomps on her neck. Moné back to her feet, going after the knee of the challenger once again with a dragon screw, but Shida fights back with a German suplex and the running knee. Kitana connects as Shida makes the cover, but the champ kicks out. She evades a Kitana attempt, but Shida lands a crisp-looking one on Moné. She goes for one more, but Mercedes rolls away from taking the brunt of it before leaving the ring to grab a kendo stick. This leads to a tug of war with Shida, who has to fight herself from using it and risk disqualification. In the end, Mercedes Moné delivered Moné make for the second time and defeated Hikaru Shida by pinfall to retain the AEW TBS Championship. Post-match, Mercedes Moné and Camille celebrates the victory, and Shida was very upset. The next match happened between American Dragon Bryan Danielson vs Scapegoat Jack Perry for the AEW World Championship. During the match, Jack pulls referee Bryce Remsburg into the way and Danielson spikes him with a backdrop driver and says he's going to kick his fucking head in. Then Young Bucks to attack Danielson and Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta ran the Bucks off. In the end, Bryan Danielson defeated Jack Perry by pinfall with the Buseiku knee to retain the AEW World Championship. Bryan celebrates on the turnbuckle, leading the crowd to sing Final Countdown, but the celebration is cut short by the arrival of Killswitch, who lays out the champion. He stares down his former friend and tag partner Jack Perry, before we soon realize why Killswitch is out here as Christian Cage makes his way out with the contract for a World Championship match. Fans are beside themselves as he heads down the ramp with the Patriarchy, but he is cut off by Jon Moxley staring him down at ringside. Mox is soon joined by Claudio, Yuta, and Pac as Cage and his crew retreat up the ramp. Pac and the BCC enter the ring, celebrating alongside Danielson until Claudio lays the champ out with an uppercut. Schaffer rushes into the ring to join the attack, as Moxley uses a plastic bag to choke Danielson out while Pac holds Yuta back from intervening. Moxley finally does what he feels is sufficient damage as the group sends Yuta leave the ring, heading through the crowd as medics attend to Bryan. This was an absolutely shocking moment. In the main event of the show, we saw an unsanctioned lights-out steel cage match between Hangman Adam Page vs Shane Swerve Strickland. There is a moment when Page begins stapling Strickland's chest, but Strickland grabs the staple gun from him and returns the favor. Strickland then follows it up with a backbreaker and picks a couple of the staples out of his chest, then grabs pictures of him as a child out of his pocket and staples them on Page's chest before he staples another picture on Page's cheek. Later on, Hangman goes to deliver Deadeye, but Strickland counter into a vertebreaker that scrapes Hangman's back against the cinder block. Page looks to stab Swerve with it, but Strickland manages to pull it away before attacking Hangman with it instead. Strickland stands up, almost in tears as he looks at the remnant of his home, and this gives Page an opening as he sets Strickland up for a powerbomb onto the cinder block. In the end, Hangman pulls out a hypodermic needle from the bucket, no clue what's in that, but Page ends up using it on the lip of Strickland before grabbing the chair once more, laying Swerve out with one final shot to the head. Swerve is completely knocked out, and the referee calls for the bell. The winner of this match was Hangman Adam Page via knockout, and medics check on Swerve after the cage went up. Page starts heading back down the ramp but stops himself short, choosing to leave and screaming, and the AEW All Out 2024 goes off the air.